You say you want love, real love, the kind that makes you feel seen, held, chosen. But time and time again, you fall for the ones who don't stay. The ones who breadcrumb, gaslight, ghost. The ones who make you question if you're too much or not enough. You think it's bad luck. You think it's your fault. You think maybe love just isn't for you. But what if I told you your chart has known all along? Because there's a secret in astrology no one talks about enough. The person you want is rarely the person you're meant for. There's a difference between who ignites your desire and who expands your soul. A difference between the one who makes your heart race and the one who teaches your heart to rest. Venus tells us what you crave. Mars, what you chase. Your 7th house and Descendant, they show who completes the circuit. And your North Node, that's where your karmic contract lives. This isn't just about compatibility. It's about pattern, pain, and your path to finally breaking it. Because if you keep falling for the same type, if your relationships feel like emotional déjà vu, if you're drawn to unavailable, chaotic, or dramatic lovers, this is for you. I'm Zorya Cassendra, and you're watching Zorya's Astrology. Let's pull the curtain back on your heart. Let's reveal why you love the way you do, and how to stop betraying yourself in the name of love. Venus is the magnetic pull of the heart. Not just who you love, but how you love. The way you flirt, the kind of romance you dream about, and what makes your soul feel desired. Your Venus sign doesn't show who's good for you. It shows what feels good right now, whether it nourishes you or not, and most of the time, it doesn't, because Venus is comfort, and comfort often means familiar pain. The kind of love you witnessed growing up, the love you were taught to earn. So when Venus whispers, "This feels like home," you need to ask yourself, was home safe, or just what you survived? Let's look at 2 examples. Rihanna, Venus in Aries, fiery, fierce, addicted to adrenaline. She's drawn to lovers who challenge her, match her dominance, even provoke her a little. That kind of love burns hot, passion, chaos, heat. But it can also leave scars if the fire isn't contained. Taylor Swift, Venus in Aquarius, detached, idealistic, romantic through ideas, not bodies. She falls for rebels, underdogs, people who live outside the lines. But that distance can hurt her, because she loves like a philosopher, but aches like a girl who wants to be chosen anyway. Your Venus sign holds your romantic mythology, the stories you believe about love. Do you chase perfection? Do you fall for intensity? Do you long for peace? Or do you fear it? Venus is also where you give yourself away, where you overgive, overexpect, overstay. So if you want to understand why you're drawn to emotionally unavailable people, or why stable love feels boring, start here. Look at your Venus and ask, am I craving love, or am I craving familiarity? Because sometimes what feels right is just what feels familiar, not what feeds your future. If Venus is how you love, Mars is who you chase. Mars is primal, instinctive, unapologetically raw. It's the spark before you even know their name. The pull that says, "I want you," before your mind catches up. Mars doesn't care if someone's good for you. Mars cares if they make your skin burn. It's lust over logic, fire over formality. Danger disguised as chemistry. The problem? Mars doesn't stick around for the consequences. It's a planet of impulse. It wants action, movement, conquest, and too often, chaos. Let's see it in action. Angelina Jolie, Mars in Aries. Bold, direct, addicted to the thrill. She's turned on by dominance, rebellion, a man who pushes back. That passion, electric, but it comes with scorched earth. She's loved men who matched her intensity, but intensity doesn't equal intimacy. Zendaya, Mars in Cancer. Soft, protective, turned on by emotional safety. She's attracted to men who nurture her, who feel deeply. But that vulnerability, it can turn into over-attachment, or being drawn to wounded souls she wants to fix. Your Mars sign shows erotic blueprint, not what lasts, but what lights the fuse. It's why you might be magnetized by the same type over and over. The brooding artist, the unavailable achiever, the sweet talker who disappears after the chase. Because Mars doesn't just show your desire, it shows your blind spots in attraction. That's why you need to ask, do I fall for the person or the pattern? Do I feel drawn? Or just addicted to intensity? Mars is magnetic, but magnets don't always attract what's right. They just attract what's charged. So if you keep ending up in the same passionate but destructive connections, it might not be about them. It might be your Mars, begging for awareness, not just excitement. You think you know your type. You say, I want someone kind, stable, attractive, successful. But astrology knows better, because the person you think you're looking for is rarely the one your soul actually seeks. To find that person, you have to look at the Descendant, the sign that sits directly opposite your rising. This is your 7th house cusp, and it holds the qualities you don't always see in yourself, but crave in a partner to feel whole, where your rising sign is you. Your Descendant is the missing piece, and often, it's uncomfortable. Why? Because we don't fall in love with people who are just like us. We fall in love with the ones who balance us, challenge us, reflect back the parts we're not yet ready to own. Let's break it down. Selena Gomez, Descendant in Taurus. She's a Cancer rising, soft, intuitive, nurturing. But what does her soul crave in a partner? Stability, consistency, groundedness, Taurus energy. Someone who won't run when things get hard. Someone who feels like home. Solid, sensual, dependable. And yet, what has she experienced? Tumultuous love stories, unstable attraction loops. Because what we crave deeply is often what we chase poorly. Beyoncé, Descendant in Sagittarius. She's a Gemini rising, quick-witted, curious, ever-adapting. But in love, she needs someone wild, expansive, honest to a fault. Sagittarius energy. Someone who opens up her world, not cages her in it. And in Jay-Z, she found a partner who grew with her, even through betrayal and rebuilding. True Sagittarian evolution. Your Descendant shows who you're magnetized to, not because they're your type, but because they carry the lessons you need. It's the relationship mirror. It's your cosmic complement. But here's the catch. You can only attract healthy versions of your Descendant if you've integrated your rising. Otherwise, you attract distorted versions, clingy, controlling, unavailable, or chaotic, depending on the sign. So ask yourself, what energy am I drawn to in others? Is it healing me? Or revealing where I haven't healed myself? Because the person who completes you isn't perfect. They're simply the mirror you've been running from. Love isn't always about chemistry. Sometimes love is a calling, a challenge, a contract, a map that your soul tucked inside your bones long before you took your first breath. That map? It's your North Node. This is where your soul signed up to evolve. Even if it terrifies you, especially if it terrifies you. And in love, it shows who you're meant to become through relationship, not who you're most comfortable being. The North Node doesn't care about your type. It doesn't care about butterflies, text backs, or cute dinner dates. It's trying to drag you, kicking and screaming, if necessary, into your highest self. Let's look at 2 lives shaped by this truth. Kourtney Kardashian, North Node, in Capricorn. Her karmic path? Structure, discipline, emotional maturity. Yet she spent years in a loop with Scott Disick, driven by comfort, chaos, and codependency. It wasn't until she chose someone like Travis Barker, grounded, steady, emotionally evolved, that she stepped toward her Capricorn calling, building something real, something lasting, something earned. Timothée Chalamet, North Node in Cancer. His path? Softness, nurturing, vulnerability. He may feel drawn to fame, ambition, control, his South Node in Capricorn, but the soul wants intimacy, family, emotional truth, and the right partner for him won't be another red carpet. They'll be a mirror of his most human hidden self. Your North Node reveals the kind of love that scares you, because it requires real growth, not just chemistry, not just desire, but transformation. So if you feel bored by the people who are good for you, or stuck chasing unavailable lovers, check your North Node, because the one you're meant for might not be what you imagined. They'll challenge your survival instincts, your pride, your fears, but they'll also awaken your purpose, not through fantasy, but through the slow, sacred art of becoming. You're attracted to them. They excite you. They text you back at midnight and leave your mind racing by morning. They check all your type boxes. Sexy, successful, maybe even spiritual. But something always feels off. You're addicted but not at peace. Seen but never really safe. Loved but never fully chosen. Why? Because there's a gap between your Venus cravings, your Mars desires, your descendant projections, and your North Node truth. When those parts of your chart don't align, you end up in a chart clash. It's what happens when you mistake chemistry for compatibility, when you choose passion over purpose, when you follow your wound instead of your wisdom. Let's look at it in real life. Kim Kardashian plus Pete Davidson. Kim's Venus is in Virgo. She craves someone useful, reliable, focused. But her Mars is in Pisces. She gets turned on by emotional softness, wounded artists, men who feel like a fantasy. Enter Pete. Poetic, chaotic, deeply Piscean. They had chemistry. They had heat. But they didn't have longevity, because their connection fed the craving, not the calling. Now look at a different kind of bond. Michelle plus Barack Obama. Michelle's Saturn sits on Barack's Jupiter. Discipline meeting purpose. Their charts aren't just aligned emotionally. They're structured for growth. Not easy, but enduring. Not thrilling in the Hollywood sense, but revolutionary in the soul sense. Because real love isn't just about who excites you. It's about who evolves you, who holds you accountable, who challenges your karma, and chooses you anyway. So the next time you fall for someone hard and fast, ask yourself, do they light me up or do they burn me out? Am I falling for a pattern or stepping into my path? Because your chart will show it, and your soul already knows. You just have to decide if you're ready to stop choosing the flame and start choosing the fire that builds something. Everyone wants the fairy tale, the perfect match, the effortless click. But real love asks more of you. It doesn't just show up wrapped in butterflies and candlelight. It shows up as a mirror. Sometimes sharp, sometimes soft, but always honest. Because the universe isn't interested in your comfort. It's interested in your becoming. And love is one of its favorite tools. You may crave one thing, but need another. You may be attracted to fire, but destined for water. You may keep falling for chaos when your soul is begging for peace. This is the journey of self-awareness, of chart integration, of turning astrology from prediction into permission. Permission to want better, to love wiser, to choose partners who don't just feel good in the moment, but align with who you're becoming. So look at your Venus, listen to your Mars, learn from your descendant, and trust your North Node. They're not just parts of a chart, they are your cosmic map. And when you start following it, you stop mistaking intensity for intimacy. You stop begging for breadcrumbs. You stop rewriting old love stories just because they're familiar. You begin to choose differently, braver, truer, deeper. You begin to love, not just with your heart, but with your destiny. I'm Zorya Cassendra, and this was Zorya's Astrology. Until next time, choose the love that heals.